Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is CJLO 1690 AM. This is the Fluid Mosaic. My name's Carter Kane, and today I am with non-binary twins. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
We're doing good.
Great.
Awesome, awesome. So today I'm with Seja and Shape. They are part of non-binary twins, and they are also, along with Cherry Vamp and the Sonic Coffin, who will be next up in the episode. We were the organizers of FM Fest this summer, and yeah, it was really fun experience, and we got to do a lot of cool stuff. But today we're here to talk about non-binary twins and how that got formed, right? So we're gonna get into that in a little bit. We got some music for you guys queued. Just to kind of start off the day, how are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling good. This is like a good timing for us because after FM, which is like our first time like participating in an event of that scale that we co-produced, we're entering a phase where we're trying to reintroduce ourselves again because like people have seen us, but they've only seen things that we're doing. They haven't really communicated with like the actual like intentions behind non-binary twins. And I feel like a lot of people might still associate NBT with just like us two as people. They don't really see that we're trying to build like what the collective means. They don't really understand like what this space is intending to be. So for me, it's like a good timing to speak with you today.
Nice. And how about you?
What was the question again?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, pretty tired. I think we can all agree that the festival was extremely intense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unpredictable things that happened, and like we took a lot of chances.
Mm-hmm.
Some things brought fruit, others didn't. But overall, I think we can all agree that it was a really good and positive experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just still coming off that
high. And,
yeah, I guess you could call it a high.
I guess the rush
or coming out of the low.
Yeah.
The high/low.
The high, yeah, there it is. But yeah, I think we should play some music. We'll get into a little vibe, you know? Yeah,
let's go.
Good? All right, let's do that. Up first, actually, we have, is it Ganma?
Yeah, this is a Chinese word.
Okay, Ganma.
It means gamma, which means... what's going on?
Yeah, Nigama, which is
like,
how are you?
Okay, nice. And this is by Lexi Liu. And then after that, we're going to have Hasta Mañana by Amina.
Actually, I think this is like a cover, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But it's like some Chinese... Like, this is the song that they play in Hong Kong and on like one of the metros or something, but like we'll talk about it later.
Okay. Does it have a little bit to do with the NBT origin?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, nice. We're gonna fill that in after. All right, so let's play these music. Let's play these songs. Hope you guys enjoy them and stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Yeah, you can start. Welcome back. Yeah, this is CJLO 1690 AM. Today, I am with non-binary twins, and so guys, I'm curious, how did NBT form? I know you guys are siblings. You're not actually twins, but how did NBT form, and what's the origins there? You know.
Well, it's funny that you already said that disclaimer, because what I was gonna say is NBT formed, I think, in 2003. When I was 2 years old and my sibling was born.
Goes way back. It goes way back. Got history.
But actually, in reality, like the collaboration between us, specifically focused on art and our art collective, happened over the course of summer 2024, I want to say, which was when we went on a trip to China and we reunited with some family over there. And then Shape and I spent the entire summer in China together. And it was at that moment that we had an idea of making an art book specifically about the travels and the stuff that we were experiencing when in China. And the name non-binary twins never came up during that entire trip. I don't think any idea of like any kind of collaboration.
It wasn't really, we never intended on creating like a collective, and we didn't intend on creating like a collective that would do like we had the idea like, oh, it would be nice to do a magazine, you know, but we didn't have any like expertise, or like we haven't done it before. I was already doing fashion. I was just starting in fashion. I was starting in Montreal, like I was modeling for some brands here, and I had an agency in Hong Kong. Sedge was doing their illustrations, and that was just like one of the things. Like, what could someone that's working in fashion, and an illustrator together do together? One of the first ideas we had is like, okay, like a magazine kind of makes sense, right? But the only reason why we started calling ourselves non-binary twins is because we were so excited about that vacation of being in China together that we were like, oh my god, we're gonna be like two aliens in China. We're gonna look like non-binary twins, you know? We were just saying, like, also we were trying to take our fashion to another level at that point. I guess we still felt like we weren't expressing ourselves fully, so the idea was like, okay, during this 2-month trip in China, we were gonna like step into this, like, into the characters that we already are, you know? And I think that's when we started calling ourselves non-binary twins, but it had nothing to do with like an organization or a collective or anything like that at the time. Actually, like the project that we did want to do a project in China, but that was just an art book, and we haven't even finished it yet. So,
and but so through that trip and that you guys talking about all these things, I think it was Sprout that you guys came to, right? You guys with the zine, you guys made Sprout eventually, and from there, like, you guys did a lot more stuff in the local scene, right? Like in Montreal.
Yeah, well, I think what happened is that the collaboration between us together, in its most purest, most basic form, was just an artistic collaboration of creating like visuals, stories, and illustrations it's artistic direction. Like, it's not really something that provides an experience to other people in the scene in an intentional way. But once we returned to Montreal and we returned to the scene, then immediately we started kind of getting locked in and thinking, like, what could we do that would provide an experience or like provide something for the community in the scene. And that's when Sprout came into existence. It was kind of like a spin-off of the art book that we had created, but those two things are not connected. Like, Sprout was extremely spontaneous, and then from that point on, that's what we kept doing. But originally we wanted to make one specific art book called Pilgrimage of the Mind, the beginning of the beginning in Hong Kong. And that book never ended up getting made because literally from the second we returned, we just started working and like making sprouts and stuff.
Okay, got you.
Could I add something?
Yeah, I'd go for it. So
basically, it's weird because when we were in Hong Kong, we had the idea of making a magazine, but we didn't. Throughout our entire time in Hong Kong, we didn't talk about this magazine. It was just, we just said like it would be cool to make a magazine. But while we were in Hong Kong, we were working on POTM. That's the name of our art book. The reason why we called it that is because we were kind of like trying to push ourselves to grow out of like I guess it was a coming of age. I call this art book a coming of age art book because it specifically has themes about like the existential crises that come with being in your early 20s and wanting to be an artist, but also like having, you know, training in like law, accounting, other stuff that has nothing to do with art, right? But then when we came back to Montreal, we worked on the magazine and the art book stayed in Hong Kong. So it was this weird thing where we spent the entire trip prepping content for a release of an art book that we'd finish when we get home. But we came home and resumed the magazine concept kind of accidentally, and the art book got buried in like future projects. And we're intending to get back to it now, actually.
Nice. It feels almost like you stepped into like kind of like you said before. You guys stepped into like a certain role, and when you were there, you guys were like in that certain role, and you guys like embodied this thing, and now you're kind of re-embodying it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think like what we did in Hong Kong was a psychological and philosophical and like purely artistic thing. It was kind of like a skill building and confidence building and just like a mental emancipation thing. But then once we came back to Montreal, we re-entered society and we got back in contact with the people that we really appreciate and that we really like, which is like you guys and other artists that are in the scene. So immediately like the focus was turned less towards us and our development, and then the camera kind of like went back onto the scene. And when we were in Hong Kong, we like noticed a lot of things that we thought were valuable in life, such as like storytelling, creating artifacts, physical artifacts especially, because the online space is extremely temporary, and like we live so many amazing moments that disappear unfortunately into our feeds. So then when we came back, we started trying to apply the things that we had uncovered in China, but for the purpose of the scene. And then the magazines came, and like the photo shoots for the different bands came, and like all of these random projects started coming, but that was completely like almost out of our control. So now we want to go back to the original thing that we wanted to do, because I feel like I don't know about you, but I feel like we kind of put ourselves aside for a while because we were so interested in like what can we provide for the scene. But now it's starting to get to a point where in order for us to continue, I think we need to come back to the origins.
Yeah. You gotta put yourself first to put other people after, right? That makes sense. That makes sense. I think you know what I mean.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, focus on yourself to help other people. You can't help other people. You don't help yourself. That's what. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. But you know, I feel that. I feel that entirely, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes about that. I think what would be a really good idea right now is if we play some more music. That sound good?
What are we
Because we're talking about
to?
origins, and the next song happens to be the origin, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but could you pronounce this for me? I don't know.
What is the song?
Oh, it's Meiko Kaji.
This is a Japanese, like, kind of like not super famous, but like well respected artist.
So you know Kill Bill.
Yeah.
So the villainess of Kill Bill is inspired off Meiko Kaji, and there's a Meiko Kaji song in Kill Bill called Urami Ibushi.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But yeah, there's a song in Kill Bill that's by Meiko Kaji, but she's super famous in Japan. And when we were creating Pilgrimage of the Mind, we were obsessed with Meiko Kaji.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So I can't read the name of the song because
we're not Japanese, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm not Japanese either. But and then after that we have Only Love Strangers by Chan Ya Tung.
Yeah, this is I think canto pop. It's also like, since our origins come from, like, we're not from Hong Kong, but our project started there, and we were really in canto pop while we were there. So
nice. Okay, cool. So it's like a little step into your mindset and what you're listening to at the time, right?
Yeah, like the environment.
Yeah, I feel you. That's cool. All right, here we go. Let's enjoy these songs. Enjoy. Welcome back. This is CJLO 1690 AM. This is the Fluid Mosaic. Once again, I'm here with non-binary twins. You guys still good? You guys good?
We're doing great.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So a little bit ago, we're talking about you guys' origin, how NBT kind of formed in Hong Kong of all places, kind of. Right. Well, actually, since you guys were born, but a little bit of Hong Kong. But and then you guys were mentioning that you guys started to sprout the zine, and it's kind of funny, just for everybody listening, for a little bit of context, how I met NBT. I was doing a show last January 2025, and I think Clifford the Duke invited you guys out to like have a little station at the show. Like, it was a musical show, but we had, like, I think he invited like 2 boutiques or something like that. There was you guys and somebody else. I don't remember the name.
I think it was actually our the FNQ frontman Crawford, because like I think Clifford gave us the spot to be able to organize it.
Yeah.
Crawford was bringing art pieces.
Okay. So yeah, there you go. And at the show, I remember going through all the stuff, and I remember like I think I had a conversation with both of you guys individually. And then we were just talking about like you guys' zines. And then I had CDs, and like I think we did a swap. 2 zines for a CD, and that's how we met, and then that's how the collaboration kind of came about, working on, and then of course, you know,
I met you guys at Petit Campus.
Anyways, but you were saying before, like when we were off air, there's a little bridge in between there, right? So I want to talk a little bit about that bridge of how it connects to FM, you know?
I think so. We had the magazine attention. I actually came back to Hong Kong and from Hong Kong, and I was recruited to walk in the MAD Festival, which is the fashion festival in Montreal. So I actually didn't want to do that festival anymore. I won't talk about why, but I wasn't sure. But the designers that wrote to me are like really great, and I would always want to work with them. But I didn't feel like applying. That's the thing. So I was happy that they reached out to me like personally. So we kind of, that's what happened. That's why we got pulled away from our art book, because we entered the scene, and all of a sudden that we used the momentum that I was getting, all the attention I was getting from being in the runways, to like create our art collective, our Instagram page, and kind of farming followers and stuff to like grow that page. But it really, I think the bridge, how we got to creating zines and stuff, is that I think Sedge was feeling like at some point like, oh, as an illustrator in the scene, I want to have a little more of a role, because people interact with my art like the flyer, but they don't really like care about who made the art. And it was kind of like this thing of like, okay, like it's time for us to actually like, you know, get more involved. Like we actually have a lot to offer. We don't want to just be like side roles or so from that point on, like we got distracted. The reason why we created Sprout is because like Seja had done the artwork of Clifford's single that had just come out, and we were like, okay, let's interview Clifford because you did the artwork for Clifford. So it was a bit opportunistic in that sense. And we just like from that point on, I think like we just had just done a photo shoot with someone else, with this person called Xenia from the fashion scene, and we'd interviewed her too. So it was just like this thing where after that we slammed all the interviews together, and we realized, oh, the magazine that we wanted to create, like we just made it in front of our eyes, you know, like kind of ununintentionally, and that's why we came up with the name Sprout. It was just like
kind of sprouted.
It sprouted. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think like, did we give you 2 zines or just one?
You gave me 2, because I think you guys were selling them for $7.50 each, and I selling the CDs for $15. So I think I did the math quickly, and I was like, oh yeah, 2 zines, one, yeah, something like that,
yeah. I think like, so we made 3 zines. When we met, we had only had 2 out, but those 3 zines were basically like a pilot of what our magazine could eventually become. So we did 3 zines in about 3 months. And that was like once again extremely intense. Like we just forced ourselves to do this because we wanted to see like what the limitations of our capacity was. But the whole concept of the zine was this idea of creating a physical artifact about activities that people are doing in the scene that we thought were really worth conserving. And it started off with interviews with people in which I would interview the person, and then I would draw an art piece that matched the person's interview, and then Shape would take notes, and that art piece would sprout at the same time as the interview, and then that art piece was the cover page of the person that would be featured in the magazine. But then from that point on, it continued transforming. Yeah, and
I think the most unique part was when we were doing the 3rd zine. We always had a strong political compass and a political interest, both of us. And after we made the first 2 zines, we saw the limits of just being in the art circles. Like, it's a little too underground, or a little like sometimes you're just bouncing between circles of people. And we wanted to interact with institutions a little bit, or have a side that would become more institution-like, rather than just like purely like 2 people.
Well, I think what you're trying to say right now is that we wanted to have some kind of narrative that would tie the entire process together between all the people that we were meeting and the experiences that we were having in the scene. We wanted to have some kind of philosophical narrative that would tie everything together. And so I work at Legal Aid, and I'm also a union executive at Legal Aid, and Shape is also like politically engaged. So we started collaborating with some, you could say, anti-capitalist groups, and in the 3rd zine, we had an artwork that was basically promoting the boycott of Amazon following the closing of...
I remember that.
Yeah, that we pushed online, because following the warehouse closures that happened in Quebec and the job losses that happened. So there's always like a working class like layer to it, and I think it meshes well with the interactions that we have in art, because especially in Montreal, because artists are really struggling in Montreal, and you know, it's like it's a very similar, parallel, almost fusional struggle. So that is kind of the narrative that is flowing through all of our zines and all our publications.
So yeah, that's basically it. Like we had the product that we liked, which was just the pilot, because we know that our future zines are going to be way more complicated, but that wasn't the goal at the time. The goal was to get them done as fast as possible so we could have something pretty complete to show people. And then after that, we were missing the connections with like the other players in the city that are bigger than art, you know, well, not bigger than art, but just like represent other like pillars, and that was through like the labor movements and stuff. And all of this is supposed to, because we do believe that art has like a revolutionary power. So yeah, that's kind of like what took so long before we got to you, and then before we got to FM Fest.
Yeah, no, okay, nice. No, and yeah, so okay. Sorry, what? Sorry, my bad. I was following until that last sentence, and then I was like, wait, what do you mean? But yeah, no, yeah,
okay, that was the side quest. That was like the main side quest that we were on until we met you. And then from that point on, FM Fest like became the thing.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, I think I like confused you, but the reason why I said it this way is because I think people interacting with us on social media would be like, okay, NBT did FM Fest with Carter and they've done these zines, but they wouldn't really realize like maybe we're not producing as much or publishing as much because a lot of our work is just networking and you don't see like the results of it yet. But a lot of our efforts are actually like in this political project that got developed more in the zine that we made for FM. And yeah, so like that FM, the way that we see FM and our involvement with FM, there's a specific role that FM has like for us, you know.
No, I feel you. All right, let's play some more music, and then we'll talk more about the overarching narrative. Up next, we have "Sealed with a Kiss" by Santo and Johnny, and then we have "Mes plus belles années" by Nema Frank, who you know is I think is a really dope artist, and yeah, we're gonna hear that in a moment. Here is "Sealed with a Kiss." Enjoy. Welcome back. Sorry about that. Yeah, once again, I'm here today with non-binary twins, and so yeah, we this past like 2 weeks ago, not quite 2 weeks ago actually, like 9 days ago, we did a thing. We all did a thing. Us four in this room, we did a thing. This thing was a thing. It was FM Fest, and it was quite the thing. Yeah, no, the four of us, since like October, we've been planning this festival, and it really, I think it was dope to see it come to fruition and see the result. We're definitely gonna have a bunch of meetings post this and then just kind of get into it, but I think just for right now, where we're at right now, I think we could all say that we did the thing, and the thing was the thing, and it was dope, you know.
I think we did the best we possibly could.
We did the best, you know. Yeah, and so yeah, how are you guys feeling post FM Fest? And yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess I just want to say, like, I'm actually really proud of us, and I'm like really thankful that you guys brought us on to FM. I'm really happy that I got to be a part of FM. Like, it was really sick. Like, the entire organizing process was really, really sick, because I think it gave us an experience that we otherwise never would have had before. And I think we learned a lot from the experience. There was times where it was like incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
Very incredibly stressful, but I'm happy that I felt that stress because it expanded our capacity. I think for tolerating uncertainty and like taking risks. And yeah, and we wanted to do like us entering FM, I think we wanted to bring something to the experience of being in FM that was a little different from another music festival or like another show.
Yeah.
So we were really focused on that. Maybe
For me, I'm really grateful because without meeting you and then without meeting April, I don't think in my own network I would have had the ability to plan something like FM Fest with the whole program that it had, the 30 like artists on my own, or at least like I would never would have thought that I could be able to do this. So, and it was really cool to work with people that have that like you know, a lot of groups that I never heard of, and honestly you have good taste as well and good relationships with the artists. So I think it was just like a natural like collaboration.
I feel like it was supposed to happen,
yeah,
to a certain extent, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And for like on a more personal level, like this is actually my first real organizing work that I've ever done. I think for our like I think Seja's also one of your.
Well, I
apart from the legal, like apart from like
organize.
the union, but for like an actual like art thing, it's actually great because we for the art book that we wanted to do, we wanted to create an event when we'd finish it. We never made the art book, so there was no event. So it was and like we talked about like kind of. Last week, just us two, like actually we want the fashion shows with the bands, like that's something we want to do ourselves. But if we have done it ourselves, it probably would have been one group with one band, and it would have been a one-off event. Maybe not a lot of people would have ever heard about it, but through FM and our page is pushing like 300k views now just from after FM. So I know this thing was seen, and I think FM was the right like vehicle for us to like use that concept and like put it in your event essentially. And yeah.
No, and honestly, I'm really happy that us four were able to do this event. I don't know if you want to say anything you want to say, April. I can take over the camera for a moment. We're switching.
Okay, wait. Ow. Well, I mean, I was present for like the first version of FM when it was originally technically only Carter organizing it, and I was like help number one, and then I think, well, that's the thing, like I met you guys when he did a gig at Petit Campus and you guys had a table because he had a similar situation than when you did with Crawford and Clifford, and like for me this year was honestly quite the thing because like I wanted to be more involved and I definitely got to have that opportunity, and meeting you guys has been such a great experience because FM would have not have been what it was this year without you guys. Like, it literally worked out the way that it did because all four of us were in it, and it wouldn't have been the same result if it was only us two or two other people who had helped us out. Like, what made it such a great event, such, like, a cool thing was having, like, all four of us involved in it, and I think that was, like, the best part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that brings me back to like, I'm really happy I'm working with people that I don't fully recognize myself in YouTube, meaning like I don't feel like I'm talking to another me or another Seja, and I think that's probably like the best part of the event. When I'm doing something, I know that I could be judged by y'all, and that's also good because I know like there's going to be a completely different perspective of whatever I think in the moment could be interesting, and I think it's the other way around too. So
it's like the 4 quadrants.
Yeah, it feels like a 4 horsemen of apocalypse situation, like 4 pieces fitting together. And like I think for a music festival, like we're trying to do something that has gravity, right? And that is relevant in the scene and is not just like someone's like backyard show or something. So I do think like it's not something we should undermine, like how actually complicated it is to create an event that for other artists to be actually like participating in this event adds something to my career, you know, or like doing this event, coming to this event, I might meet important people, I might do something like that's going to help me move forward. And I think like what FM ended up being this year, it wasn't perfect, but I think we came close to like hitting that note, so I'm really happy. No,
I definitely felt like we were in some kind of element. You know what I mean? Like we were in some. There was something there. There was something there for sure. And I think it's a good point. We're near the end of the hour. We have we'll be able to play 2 more songs out of the 4 we have left, if that's chill. But thank you guys so much for coming in today. Stay tuned, everybody listening in, for Cherry Vamp and the Sonic Coffin, because their guest is gonna be, you guessed it, Non-binary twins. Let's go. Yeah, so stay tuned for a little bit. We're gonna play 2 songs. I'm actually gonna ask these guys to pick 2.
I would put Standard by Love Bombers because in my first
Love Bombers, there's like history there.
Yeah,
also.
There's history. We didn't talk about them, but they're like
they're one of the first zines you guys did.
Yeah, and
we
Lo
did a photo shoot for them. Loic is one of our OGs in the
and he's
scene.
in Nelligan now, right?
He's in Nelligan now.
Yeah, shout out.
So maybe we can do
maybe either Grasshopper or Self-Resorted because that's her cousin.
Okay, Self-Resorted. So let's do Love Bombers and then Self-Resorted.
All right, we'll see if we have. I hope you have enough time for both. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. This is CJLO 1690 AM. My name's Carter, and yeah, this was Non-Binary Twins. These guys are awesome. Stay tuned for the next episode. Music, enjoy.
Like swamp water, I'm swimming in my sins. Shattered glass all over this golden plated floor. Surrounded by corners, light outside this box.
Hello, hello, hello. This is CJLO 1690. You are listening to Cherry Vamp and the Sonic Coffin, and I am Cherry. I am here with Non-Binary Twins. How are you guys?
Hello.
So, for those who have not heard the previous show, Non-Binary Twins was an interview with FM, the Fluid Mosaic, and given that we worked all on FM Fest together, we figured why not just do a double episode and keep them on air for another hour, poor babies. So, just as a little bit of a recap, do you guys want to very short version talk about the origin of Non-Binary Twins?
Yeah, so Non-Binary Twins is we're siblings. We make art together. We went on a trip together that really changed our perspective. And then once we came back to Montreal after the trip, we started making magazines and interacting with the art scene. And then we met Carter through our magazines, through an exchange. And then that is how we eventually came to co-organize FM Fest.
Pretty much. And so we were just talking about like what the experience of FM Fest was for all of us and how that project came about. And so I guess this is just like my first question, and I feel like it might be a little bit of a heavy hitter, but like I wanted to ask you guys, what was, I guess, like your favorite moment, or at least one of those moments, because I feel like I had a moment during the festival in which I realized I was like, we did this, you guys. Like, we did this, and it was beautiful to see it. So I guess, what was your we did this moment?
So, it was actually not on Sunday, which was the day that me and Seja, focused on. It was actually on Saturday.
Wow.
I think Friday, I was way too stressed out, and there was something, I was thinking about how I can, make a few last-minute adjustments for Saturday, which was, moving the door situation, whatever, it doesn't matter. But on Saturday, maybe at the beginning of the day, I was a little worried about the same things that you're always worried about when you're an organizer. But at some point, I just got tired of being worried. I genuinely couldn't. I was too tired to have thoughts, and I just kind of became a consumer for a second of my own event. I went upstairs and I just kind of tapped into the music and the vibes, and it was great. I was seeing it as if I was just coming into this event, not knowing what it is, with no expectations, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. And there was a good crowd upstairs, and then I just ran downstairs like a kid, to the other event, which was our event too, so in the other venue, and I was I got locked into another show completely with a whole different vibe. And at that point I was just yo, this is so sweet, I'm really happy with this event. And it was at that point I was just having fun,
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. What about you, Sej?
I think for me it was probably on the first day when everyone just showed up, and then all of a sudden everything that we had talked about that was extremely theoretical all of a sudden was becoming real. And then I realized oh fuck, you know what I mean? Fuck, man.
It's okay, you're good.
Oh, my bad. I wasn't supposed to swear.
It's okay, you're good. Oh, darn.
My bad. But basically, yeah, that's pretty much encapsulates my feelings towards it. And I was really happy to see it all happen. Just
Yeah, no, I get it. Don't worry, you're good. But yeah, I don't know, Carter, did you have a wow moment? Do you want to say it into the mic?
Sure. I feel definitely probably for me was the Sunday. Like I've done a lot of events, organizing events, doing my own shows, whatever. I that's not like that for me. It's like kind of like it's a muscle now. But I feel for the Saturday that was like we did that. You know what I mean? Like and it was like packed. Like Saturday was hard to walk through, which was like kind of crazy. Like I was trying to go see my dad at one point in the corner, and I had to like squeeze by like so many people to get around to the thing.
Like during the fashion show, you mean?
During the fashion show, yeah. Like it was so packed. Like, and of course the Saturday like was dope because I performed. But that's as MOC, you know. But yeah, good overall, good vibes.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess like I think there was a moment where we were like all dancing together, and I think that was one of my favorite moments, just being able to kind of like enjoy the music with you guys. And like I wanted to have a moment where we could just have our fun. And I do think like Sunday completely like surpassed my expectations compared to like what we had, what was going on, what was going to happen. And like, yeah, but I think Saturday was really just one of them where it's like, oh wow, like we really did this and it was really fun. I think my favorite was also the womb like show. I mean, I also got a maxi pad set list, so that was beautiful. But yeah, like I don't know, the whole weekend was just such a crazy experience, and I still can't believe we did that. That's crazy, you guys. Oh, yes. Yes, that's true. I got a bunch of set lists. I got from Christ, I got from MOC, I got from Nelligan, I got from Resonance. Yeah, I have to keep counting because there was a lot of them. But yeah, like at least 5 set lists, that's for sure. So that was the fun part. But yeah, so what do you guys think? Maybe we should start playing some music.
Yeah, go for it.
So I have here Quel genre de Dieu by Conflit Majeur, and then I can't read that.
Can you actually put number 6 instead?
Beautiful. So then instead we will be pointing Join Me in Death. Oh, I love this song. Oh, I love this song. Perfect. So we'll put Join Me in Death right after by him. Now this is just like, this one's like been boasting like in online too recently, right? Like I don't know what it is with this song, but it's like all over the place.
It's glorious.
It's beautiful. All right, awesome. So we're gonna listen to Quel genre de Dieu by Conflit Majeur and then Join Me in Death by him. Hope you guys enjoy.
Joseph from Cootie Catcher, and you're listening to CJLO 1690 AM in Montreal.
You are indeed listening to CJLO 1690. I am Cherry, and this is Cherry Vamp of the Sonic Coffin, currently with NBT, Non-Binary Twins, collaborators of mine with who we've worked on FM Fest. So we just talked about like our favorite part about the festival, and I know that you guys are, you know, like the zine was something that really was a big thing, and you actually made a zine for this festival. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the process of this zine?
Yeah, so the zine it's really funny because in a lot of ways this festival, it's almost as if we were planning this festival before we even knew that we were planning this festival.
Right, because like little note on that, didn't you guys want to do like a kind of collab thing between Drain Wash and Conflit Majeur before?
So a year before FM, we had approached Conflit Majeur with the idea of doing a runway at the same time as their set. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much the most bare bones that idea was. And we wanted to put it into action, but for a lot of reasons we couldn't do it that year. And then FM gave us the context to actually put that into action, and then we added like two other runways to it. Mm-hmm. The zine was also part of that idea, where at the event we would hand out a zine, and it was just like that's what we were planning.
I want to clarify, like, I think, like, actually, so this is the fourth scene we were supposed. So that was the fourth scene we made. But the actual zine number 4, Sprout 4, is called Black Box, and this is going to be the first product that comes out from NBT that's going to be like a real product. Like the first 3 zines were a pilot. What we mean by that is there was no budget, and we made them quickly. Yeah, they're good, but they were short, right? But the next one is going to be like an annual, and from that point on, 2027 onwards, we're going to be making like a big tome every year.
Okay.
Like hopefully, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
But we kind of realized that the pilot wasn't complete. Like, we didn't have a French name. We didn't, like, we kind of made them quickly, but we wanted to incorporate maybe some advertising, different types of writing too. So we came up with like State of Shock. I think like FM being kind of this behemoth of a project, and then the underlying political project that we had that we didn't really want to advertise, but we wanted to sneak in a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why we called it State of Shock, and that's why the zine was called like Sprout number 0, because it was like, it's kind of like, it's like the first real zine. So
yeah, like I would say that it was kind of the most actualized version of our 3 pilots put into one.
Okay.
So we had an opportunity to distribute it. We were really lucky in the sense that we were able to get it printed for free, and so we were able to give it out for free. And not only is it a physical media, an artifact of the event, because it has artists of the event in it, and it has the flyer of the event and the list of artists on the back.
Yeah.
But it also contains like articles that we wrote that, in our opinion, are timely with a lot of the things that are going on in the world right now. There's also, on one of the pages in the zine, there's like this map of Montreal with different phone numbers on it.
Yeah.
That's basically for if you're having problems with your housing, you can call based on the region in the city. You can call to get some help with that. So we wanted the zine to be something practical, something that is like memorable. And but that being said, it was also very spontaneous in the sense that I think like, was it like a few
we made
weeks,
it in a week.
I think it was
much.
like maybe less than a month before FM actually happened.
Yeah.
I told Shape like, we're making a zine. And before that, it was almost, the idea was practically
we
scrapped.
had already talked about it, but
Yeah.
it felt like impossible when we were in the juice of FM. But then after that, like, Sej had that second wind.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy.
And like we made the entire zine in like one sitting.
Yeah.
Or 1 or 2 sittings. Yeah.
That's really cool. And I mean, so you mentioned the French name. So what I really appreciate about you guys is that you really take the whole like Montreal and bilingualism of Montreal very seriously. And so like the zine itself also had like a reflection of that. You made sure to have like a lot of things like both in English and in French to be able to kind of like encompass everybody. And it was actually curious because like I had a lot of people make the comment about the name that you guys picked, Adelph, being like the French version of non-binary twins. And I wanted to ask you guys, where did that come from? What was the idea behind Adelph?
So actually, like,
shout out to Hamza.
Shout out to Hamza. He's a photographer in Montreal. He's pretty popular and like a really high quality photographer. Actually, Seja was doing like some photo shoot for a LaSalle student, at modeling for a LaSalle student, called Zhang, is her friend. And after that, Zhang's graduating collection was being shot by Hamza.
Okay.
And Hamza just took a picture. Like, I think he had extra film pictures, so he took one of me, and then he took some of Seja, and then us together, and he made a post with those film pictures, and the caption was straight up just Adelph. I'd never heard of that word before.
Really?
So that's when I looked it up, and I was like, okay. I didn't realize that, we always knew that not having a French name would limit us. And we are bilingual, and since we want to do politics, then it needs to respect the politics of this place, right? So after months, I realized like I didn't find a better name, like, that is the name. I didn't know what else it would be.
And like you said, you looked it up, but what is the meaning of Adelph?
So it means siblings.
Okay,
it's like it's the gender neutral term for siblings. Like we were trying to. We like jokingly called ourselves jumeaux non-binaire, but it's like jumeaux and jumelle, that's already gendered on its own.
Yeah.
And it sounds stupid, Adelph sounds a lot like more...
Adelph sounds actually editorial. And, in French it's like sœur ou frère, but Adelph is the only word for sibling that is gender neutral. So
Well, that's really cool, and it's pretty all-encompassing. I didn't even know the word Adelph existed, and I did not know it meant siblings until I saw it on the zine. And then somebody was like, yeah, it means sibling in French, and I was like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like a really, really great way to be able to have like your different name, and even at that, I think it's still a good representative of what you are as a collective. And it's like, it's cool, because it's like, you are an up-and-coming collective, and this is a word that not many people know, but like I feel like it's really well represented.
I want to add something. Like, I think non-binary twins, the reason why we kind of named our collective after ourselves, although we're trying to make a project for the scene, is we're journalists in the scene, and it's kind of like our curation. You know, like, you can, if you're reading our products, that means you're either trusting who we are, but so there is that element of like, okay, like, this is made by us, even though it's not for us. But the French name being just Adelph, I want it to be a little more all-encompassing in the sense that it's like, everyone has siblings. Not everyone, but a lot of people have siblings. It's not just us.
Yeah.
It's more like, okay, maybe we're siblings, you know?
And yeah, you can even consider a sibling a person that you meet later on. Like, I mean, like, I've told Carter a million times I consider him like a brother, you know? Like, it's a type of bond that you can make with a person that, like, once you're just close enough and everything, you want everybody to feel like there's a community thing to it, right? And I feel like Adelph works really well with that.
Yeah, but I would also argue that there's more than just us who are non-binary twins.
That's true.
You guys are kind of like a different set of non-binary twins in a way.
Kind
We've
of.
been joking that non-binary, like, since we've created NBT, and we've been joking that just non-binary twins is like actually like a archetype of like a type of
duo.
relationship
Yeah.
you see.
So we're
Yeah.
non-binary twins, but very gendered non-binary twins. That's really funny. I love that. Okay, so on that note, I think we're going to listen to some more music. We wanted to focus a little bit on the local stuff. So here, I'm going to show you the screen.
How about we play Womb?
Beautiful. Shout out Womb. That
Love
was
Womb.
one of the best sets I'd ever seen. That was the first time I ever saw Womb live, and that was the first time I was ever in a mosh pit, you guys. That was the most
Oh,
amazing
yeah?
thing ever. Yeah.
Seriously?
It was my first mosh pit ever.
Oh.
No, I'm a scaredy girl. Okay. So the thing is, my glasses are really loose, and so they fall off my head really. And I don't have balance. Like, this is a well-known thing where like I have no balance whatsoever. Like, I'm always tripping. I'm always falling over myself. So it's like, put that in a mosh, and I'm gonna die, like, straight up. And so I was really scared. And that being like it felt like a more safe environment because there was less people, but it was always also everybody who was there was doing it for the fun of it. So I got to like have so much fun with like these two girls who were like also just moshing for the fun of it, and it was really cool. Okay, so let's do Womb, and you guys want to do can we do Eka right after?
Yeah.
Do you mind? I love Eka. Everybody, all my listeners know just how much I love Eka. Anyways, here goes Horrors by Womb, and then Seraphine by Eka. I hope you guys enjoy. And that was Seraphine by Eka off of I changed the version, but I put the new version from Phantasmagoreca, the one where they redid the whole recording and everything. But yeah, amazing artist. Both of these artists performed at FM Fest, and they were such just amazing sets. It was just a really, really fun time. And like, yeah, like, okay, I want to ask, because we've been talking about like us, we've talked a lot about how FM has been a very, very big task for all of us. Like, I mean, you guys both work full-time jobs. Carter and I work part-time and organized FM, and like, it's a lot of energy. But I wanted to ask, like, do you guys think you would want to put more energy into the next one, or how do we feel about like working this much on a project that doesn't really give us much revenue, you know?
I think I'll take it first. Well, I think like in this FM, the philosophy that we had was that we wanted to go all in, and it was just to test ourselves to see what our capacity was and where our limits are. I think for me personally, I'm still extremely committed to FM, but for example, maybe I wouldn't do the flyer, the art of the flyer, because my day job is extremely demanding.
Yeah.
So it's like cognitively it started to become difficult to. And I think like at the beginning when we were organizing, I was playing more of like an admin role where I was like keeping minutes and all this kind of stuff. But then once I started to do the art, that went to the side, and maybe like the team could have benefited for having someone
more as admin,
consistently hold that role the entire way through.
Yeah.
So
For me, I would put more energy, but it's always a question of like strategy, you know what I mean? Because like I don't want to put more energy if it's going to be like, if we're going to keep the same structure and we're not making improvements in like how we can be more efficient or whatever, because then at that point I'm just bleeding out, you know.
No, understandably so.
I came close to being like out of endurance before the event even happened.
Wow, really?
And I asked Sej before the event started, like, hey, if FM started a week before, do you think we'd be like in trouble? Obviously we would have adjusted if it was a week before, but I do think we needed like all the way till the very last moments before the event happened. And so that just like goes to show you.
Yeah,
you know?
but also like this year, simultaneously to FM, I had like a straight up burnout from work, like a medical burnout, and we lost our apartment because we had like severe infestations in our apartment. So all of this different stuff happening at once, maybe
it's a unique situation.
made it very unique. And I think like the energy of like desperation and like the need for transformation and the need to like surpass ourselves and to like fight through all of the chaos, I think permeated into FM and made it what it was.
Yeah.
But going forwards, do I want to live that again? Not really.
And for me, this year had a unique challenge that was specific to this year, because they call it in sports and stuff, they call it the sophomore slump, which is the second year.
Yeah.
But I think it's not that it's make it or break it, but the second year sets a precedent for your actual like ability to do your future, right? Whereas it's not that you're gonna, because you don't want to be expanding every single year, but in that second year, like I feel like we had to actually get like the infinity stones of what would be FM for the next 3 years, and then maybe more like a stable framework.
Because
but if we didn't do it, for example, if we didn't do all these things, maybe like not everything we'd do it again, but for getting grants, for example, I think everything that we did is helpful.
Yeah, 100%. And I honestly think also a lot of the things that you guys brought forward made the event so much more professional, and so much like, kind of like you said, it added a more of a framework. Like you guys got a banner, like it organized a VIP event beforehand, like it created the thing that we're like, FM really felt like an actual, like, you know, a thing, like an actual, I don't know how to say it, like a collective in itself, like an actual business in a way.
It felt like a startup,
exactly. Like we actually did something with it, and it created, like, a lot of people took us way more seriously once those things popped up. And like now we have a banner that has both FM and NBT logos, and so it's like we have our actual stuff, you know, like everybody can see this and be present and be like, okay, you guys are actually serious about this. Like we look serious about it. And I think all of that is a lot on, like, I mean, we all did the exact same amount of work. Like I did not live the not having a apartment as much as you did, and I did not live work, like burnout at work. And I think that through all of those difficult things that you guys have to deal with, that you were able to even push through and create something and still put so much energy into this work was absolutely like amazing. And like I'm really, really grateful for you guys, because like without that, I don't think, like I said before, there was no way we would have been able to get to the point where we did, you know. And like I guess another kind of like side question that I'm wondering is, like, you guys got to witness FM as an audience last year, / like kind of like vendors in a bit of a way, because you had a table. And so what do you think would be, like, from the standpoint of an audience from last year towards organizers this year, like what were the biggest differences that you noticed?
So I would say, like, last year I saw the soul. I really saw the soul of the event. I saw actually last year I was maybe convinced that I want to join this event when I went there. And I saw that, like, it had, like, it was a skeleton, right? But I think a lot of the things that I saw that are lacking in FM, there were also the exact same things that were lacking in NBT. So there was this, like, natural overlap in, like, what I needed to do to prove ourselves for our independent collective, and what we need to do to make FM stand on its head a little more. It was kind of like almost the same. And so, and to answer your question more directly, like I think FM was in that, like, DIY territory last year, and I think, like, we wanted to get out of that a little more, just so that we can have more of an institutional approach in the future.
Yeah, and also, like, just to expand on this idea of, like, business and institution and all this kind of stuff, because I know that especially in Montreal, where a lot of artistic spaces are DIY, sometimes that gives people, like, a weird vibe, or they don't really understand, like, why are you doing this, or, like, what is this? And of course, like DIY is sick. Like I think all of us have interacted with a lot of DIY shows and artistic moments, and like that is really like the soul of Montreal. But also we do want to have longevity, and to a certain extent it's hard to like constantly keep your head above water when you're in the DIY space all the time. And for FM, at least that's the way that I see it, but I feel like it's kind of like a moment where many people can come together and like have a moment that has longevity, whereas the show comes and goes, but it doesn't really disappear into like the memory of like yesteryear, and it just doesn't disappear into the memory of your feed on your phone. Like it inscribes itself into like a longer chain of moments.
Yeah.
And there was FM1 that happened, and then everyone got to witness the evolution into FM2, and then we're going to do it again next year, and it's going to evolve again into FM3.
For me, it's not that there's anything inherently wrong with DIY. I think like DIY is a sacred space, and a lot of people that listen to underground music, they're going to think that, and I also think that. But I do think that there is a fringe, like, I think most people do want to get taken seriously by the institutions too, or at least they want to be able to be fluent in both.
Yeah, I think like also it's something that we talked about in the panel, and it's something that we reflected on when we were handing out flyers at Jazz Festival promoting FM. But it's the fact that in Quebec, unfortunately, there's like these state-run corpo festivals that aren't created by the artists or organized by the artists. And unfortunately, it doesn't platform a lot of the artists that we know. So FM is meant to like compete against that and platform our comrades and our peers that are.
So it needs to be the best packaging we can possibly give it for it to be as like solid as possible.
I completely agree with that. And like you were talking about the panel, and we didn't get much of a chance to talk about it a little bit before with Carter, but like you guys both hosted this panel. Like I remember on Sunday, like you were setting up your questions and everything. You were like completely super focused on that. And like now that it's like, you know, been a week, how do you feel about how the panel went?
So the panel, to be honest, I didn't really know how the panel would go up until the second where we were on stage, and then I realized like, okay, this is like, you know, when the people were next to me and in front of me, and I think like Carter as well, then it was like, now we're just surfing the wave. There were, upon reflecting on the questions that I asked, I think there's some places in which I would have dug a little deeper. For example, Zia, one of the panelists who was working at Accès à maybe I would have liked to go deeper into the framework of what he was talking about, in the legal framework of like non-profits, like a non-profit festival like Accès à the kind of difficulties that they run into with like the conseil d'administration, the whole bureaucracy that hides behind festivals like that can make things a lot slower and more cumbersome. But for the most part, the panel was kind of just an idea of like, we can have a discussion about our condition as artists, and we can bring in different people that are from different ages, like people that are older, people that are a bit younger, people that are just located on different places on the map, and we can all provide experiences together. And I thought that maybe I would be able to extract like a stronger conclusion about the condition of artists in Quebec, but to be honest, it was just like the multiplicity was really what stood out.
For me, I think the panel also was great because I think it showed a little more of like the philosophy of FM, just like we demonstrated to the audience. Once again, like they don't think about these things. The audience isn't going to come in and be like, oh, this festival, they're intending to cross scenes. They want different communities that don't normally perform together to come together.
Yeah, people just see a poster and they're like, wow, okay, so like exactly. QNF is playing on the same day as like AGA and like Plus. Like, what's that, you know? No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I don't think they and I think it's important to have like a serious moment because it's like taking two mirrors and putting them in front of each other.
Yeah, it's like breaking the fourth wall a little bit and just saying like, this is actually what we're doing here. Like, there's actually a reason that this is happening. It's not just like a random party. Yeah. So I would definitely want to do more discussions like this in the future. Yeah. Maybe we could have like workshops and like
for
more
me,
specific.
This is important because it's going to help Montreal take itself more seriously. And then the further goal would be for the underground to be taken seriously by the media here.
Yeah.
And if the media could take the underground seriously, then artists could get more, get more money from
visibility
from
for the work that they do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like just I guess to like wrap on that point, the underground, obviously, the fact that it is underground, it allows like tight-knit communities to form and be protected in a certain way, which is the positive sides of the underground. But then the negative side is if you want to have a career, it can be really difficult to just like
you
get
might never
anything.
get out your day job.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. So there's a balance that needs to be found there, and we believe that the media in Quebec doesn't pay attention to the actual culture makers in Quebec, which is us.
Yeah, they pay attention to the big stuff and bring it to Quebec.
Yeah, exactly. They import things from outside when Montreal is already known as a culture capital.
I've heard that so much, dude. Everybody keeps saying how Montreal is the cultural capital of Canada.
Exactly.
You know?
Montreal is a place where you can experience crazy things and interact with so many interesting subcultures, but that's for some reason on the institutional level the media does not write about Montreal in that way.
And sorry, like last thing I want to add is there's also this like I think the last thing is I was hoping the panel would be a little more vicious in taking apart maybe
I expected that
the players in the industry, like the festivals, because everyone loves festivals that are free. Like it's great. But they don't. Not a lot of people consider how does that actually like
impact the artist.
It's like Facebook and Instagram being free, but there's obviously like that's more of an obvious example. But there's like something under the table that you don't know has a larger effect on other things. And the festivals in Montreal are fun, but they're really not made by artists. They're made by bureaucrats. And the way that they choose artists, it's not really relational. They have almost like a pigiste mindset of taking artists.
And also the fact that the festivals are free, it makes it accessible to the masses to go and interact with the artists, but that makes it so that the artists themselves are undervalued for what they produce because they're not like receiving money from the audience directly. And it also makes it so that the audience doesn't inject money into the market, into the artistic
the money
space.
comes from taxes instead of actually being revenue. So the artists
are removed from what is fundamental to creating art, which is the connection with the audience. So those are tons of things.
I just discovered a new term called like lean in versus lean out kind of listening to music. That's because I'm reading a book that's taking apart the streaming industry of like Spotify and all the problems that Spotify causes. But like I think like what I learned from that book was how like actually a huge body of the masses, percentage of the masses, they listen to music with a lean out mindset, which basically means like they don't really question what they're engaging with.
The music is just there and they separate it. That's like a lot of people do that thing where like they separate the art from the artist, but like I feel like the art and their artist are very much like tight knit together. That's what no artist wouldn't be able to create the art that they are if they weren't together. You know, if it's completely separate, then it's not their art. I feel like. And that's something that a lot of people, there's this idea where like you can just listen to music and just like listen to it but not actually pay attention to what's behind it. And I feel like a lot of people miss out on what they can find if they actually were to look into the artist, or sometimes even miss out on the things that they could like stay away from if they did look into the artist, you know? But yeah, I think on that note, we talked about underground. Let's play some local music, you know? That'd be a cool vibe. So I Bore You Now, Bear For Me by Truck Violence, and then Professional Underwear by G-String, also performed at FM Fest. Is there anything you guys want to say about these songs, or we just jump right in?
No, let's go for it.
All right. Here goes I Bore You Now, Bear For Me by Truck Violence. Hope you enjoy. Hello, we are back. That was Professional Underwear by G-String. What a song. And so we've made it to the end of the hour, top of the hour point where we say our goodbyes. And so I just really wanted to thank you guys again for coming on air with us for a 2-hour slot. Radio tends to get really exhausting after a little bit, so thank you for powering through. And so I was wondering if you guys had any shout outs, anything that you wanted to say before we exit it.
So shout out Hannah and Harley and all the volunteers.
Yep, shout out Ingrid.
That showed up and like helped us on the days of the event.
There's a lot of volunteers.
So many. I mean, one of our volunteers has a show coming up after this, Bikini Girl Riot.
Shout
So
out.
if you want to go listen to Ingrid after this, that'll be fun.
Completely unrelated, but shout out the Stone Poet for
Yeah, shout out the
for
Stone
helping
Poet.
us
just
out,
being
bro.
there and
For
helping
being the
out.
Stone Poet.
Yeah.
He's so great.
Otherwise, you can find us Non-Binary Twins on Instagram. You can check out my YouTube, Basic Revelation, How to Survive Trying.
And tomorrow we'll be streaming on Shapely TV. It's called Angelic Streams at 8 p.m. It's the first like real episode, and we're just gonna talk a little more about things we didn't get to talk about today.
Yeah, go more in depth.
Pretty much about we have a tea house project that I don't know when it'll come out, but we want to have like an actual tea house, like our own space. We don't have to rent other people's spaces, but that might take forever, you know.
I mean, hey, you never know, but at least having your own space would be a really, really cool thing. And so, yeah, I mean, we still have a minute and a half left, you guys. So, like, what else? I don't know. Like, I'm like lightning question time, and there's no question coming up to me right now. Who is your favorite artist performing? Go.
Quebec Nihilism Front.
FNQ is like
My best friend,
our
Crawford. My best friend that I know from since elementary school, literally like 4 years old.
I won't lie.
Stop.
Like I ran downstairs and I caught Drunk Cat, and I understood the hype because they had like such a cool vibe going on. I really liked it.
Yeah, and well, all the artists on Sunday, like the show that we booked, those guys are like our guys, you know.
Yeah.
Conflit Majeur, since the beginning of the scene, we've been huge fans.
I think like I also really appreciated the openers, like the people that opened up every single day, every single venue. Like thanks a lot, you know. It's stressful.
They did the hard work.
Everyone's putting their weight on your, like you're kind of carrying the weight of the event unintentionally, or like just since you're breaking the event for everyone. So shout out the openers.
Yeah.
Shout out the openers. All right, I think I'm gonna say my favorites were Womb and Shirehead, but that's like not even news anyways. Everybody know this. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for coming on air. Thank you so much, everybody listening. And yeah, if you want to listen to Ingrid talk later, she's got some great music coming up for you. Here is Cherry Vamp and the Sonic Coffin, and I'll see you guys next week. I hope you have an amazing, amazing week. Bye-bye.
You wanted to be on my team, but not on my side. So let me know when, if not then, no biggie, my friend. La, la, la,
Hi, this is Remy.